Well, I was having a conversation with my wife about the slogan for Johnny's Kids that reads, "The game belongs to them." And I realized that up to this point, I hadn't explained where I got that from. So I wanted to take a quick moment, just a really short video, kind of tell you how I got to that point, where we came up with that, and how it just actually helped change the way I coach, where I went from more of from a transitional coach more to a transformational coach. And in the future video, I'll explain what that means more in depth. But for the moment, this is Johnny's Kids. I'm Coach Johnny, the channel designed to remind all of us that the game belongs to them. So back when I was in junior high school, I used to run a lot. I wasn't a fast runner. I just ran long distances. I had really good endurance. And I kind of got into my first race when I was about 12 or 13 years old. I think I was 12 and I ran a 4 mile race. And I don't know, I got that runner's high and really enjoyed it. So I kind of kept doing it. And I really didn't join the track and field club at school because, like I said, I wasn't very fast. So I wasn't going to be very helpful. Instead, I joined a running club in my neighborhood. It was like 4 or 5 of us kids that weren't fast and we just had good endurance. And there's maybe about another 10 or 12 adults. And we all kind of ran together. Um, Sometimes all as one group, sometimes as separate groups, depending on who was going what distance that day. And I did this for a long time. By the time I was 13, I was running 10Ks. At 14, I ran my first half marathon, which was just grueling and painful, but I did complete it. And I was very pleased with that accomplishment. But as time passed, there was some friction that was building up between my father and I, whose relationship can only be described as complicated. And that's me being generous. And the coach that I had actually worked with my father. They worked at the same place together. Then the kids that I ran with, they went to school with me. And there was an event coming up in the next town over, a 10K that the kids had signed up for. And even my coach had signed up for it. He was going to run it as well. And I didn't sign up for it. I didn't feel like I was ready physically. My training kind of got hampered a little bit with a minor injury. And I knew physically and mentally I wouldn't be able to perform at a level that I was happy with. For whatever reason, my father decided that he wanted me to race regardless. And this led into a discussion that quickly turned into an argument. He just could not understand why I didn't want to race. And he was concerned about how that would make me look and how that would make him look for some reason. And this argument went on for a while. And in a moment of, I don't know, weakness or strength, depending on how you look at it, I snapped back at him in a way that I'd never done before, which is something we didn't do in our family. None of us were brought up that way, but I had reached a breaking point. I was about 15. And I remember thinking to myself, don't say that you don't care, because you do. But what I ended up saying back to him was, I don't run for my coach. I don't run for your friends. I don't even run for my friends. I run for me. I completely expected to get knocked out at that moment. What happened next defined my relationship with him all the way into adulthood. He looked at me and then beat red, said nothing, and just walked away. I didn't race at that competition. My friends did. A couple of them did well, some did not. But for whatever reason, that moment truly did stay with me into my adulthood. Now, about maybe 10 years ago, I was watching something on TV. I think it was a soccer game. And one of the announcers said something in passing along the lines of soccer, like, well, football. This was in the English league. He said football comes down to a child's game being played by adults. And that's when it hit me. That's when the ownership of the game, which is what I did at that moment with that argument with my father, is I took back ownership of my game. That's when it all kind of came together. And that's at that point I was coaching kids, and it made me realize that how I had been coaching was completely wrong. And I completely flipped the switch pretty much in mid-season, kind of caught everybody off guard. But it made me realize that there is an ownership to the game, and it doesn't belong to the coaches. It belongs to the players. There's a reason why they sign up to play their games. There's a reason why we still say, even about professional athletes, they are a soccer player, or they're a baseball player, or they're a football player, or they're just a player, because that's exactly what they're doing. They're getting paid to play a child's game. It's their game. It always has been. And the moment we start taking that away from them, or even it comes across as we're taking that away from them, that's when they stop having fun. And that's when we start losing them. And this is really important for all of us to acknowledge that they are not accountable to us as coaches. We're accountable to them. They came to us. That means something. We have to take responsibility for that, for how we teach them, what we teach them, why are we teaching them, okay? They want something from us. It's our responsibility to deliver. The next series of videos, I'll be able to break all that down to smaller parts and kind of give you some ideas of where I'm coming from. I'm still waiting on some feedback that maybe I can bring some people into some of these Zoom calls to be able to kind of see it from other perspectives as well. If you've made it this far, first, thank you. This is the call to action now. Please subscribe, like the video, share it. All of these things help build a JK tribe. It's going to help all of us come together as a community in the interest of being able to serve the next generation of child athletes. Thank you, and have a blessed day.